Well, we're having an adventure. It's part of the class called Adventure Art that I teach at Hastings, which basically challenges students to use their creativity and imagination to create an adventure or an exciting experience for themselves. We came here because of the significance of the area where we go to school. It made sense to tie a field trip and an adventure into the local history, and in this case the homesteaders and the pioneers that came through in the late 19th century. The idea we came up with as a class was that we were going to come out to Stuhr, learn about the pioneers, and try and transform ourselves into pioneers as much as we can over the course of 3 days. And then at that point, this is where the second part of the adventure comes into play, is we'll hike back to the college, which is about 26 miles away, and pull our stuff in a Mormon handcart and put kind of all of our learning to practice, and using the Dutch ovens and all those kind of survival skills that we've learned to make our way home. To have an adventure, there has to be a risk of failure, and I mean, I guess we could have failed being out here, but this is they're doing a lot for us. It's going to be relatively comfortable compared to the 2 days that we're on our own, and honestly, I'm a little nervous about that, and I think they probably are too, and I think that's good. That's what makes it exciting, and makes us want to pull together to do it and not fail. It makes for a really good group dynamic and really positive attitude, and I think they're all having a lot of fun. It's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure everyone seems really happy so far. Well, when we first got here, we arrived at the cabin where we're staying. It was made in 1863, and so we got kind of a brief orientation on cabin living, just using oil lanterns, using the wood-burning stove to cook our meals on. And we made butter and corncob jelly, and had a pork roast with sauerkraut and beans and rice, and just kind of finding our way around and then setting up cots to sleep on. So we'll have another night in the cabin there tonight before we make our way home.
This gives them the opportunity to experience some of the ground conditions and the weather conditions that people would have traveled in. They probably would not have traveled until late April or early May. There are recorded instances where the entire westward migration occurred within about a 2-week span, from about the last week in April to the first week in May. There were very few stragglers after that due to the lack of feed for the animals and the possibility of getting caught in the snows back out in the western reaches. And contrary to movie scripts, the wagon trains did not travel single file. 200 wagons, they spread out over about a 20-mile span and got together at night again then and circled the wagons, not to keep the Indians out, but to corral the animals and keep them from wandering off in the night.
It's something that you don't usually have a chance to do too often, and I just wanted to go on an adventure and do something different. I've learned how to cook on a cast iron stove, which was actually really interesting to learn how to do that, and just basic. I learned how to tie certain knots, as far as before we came here, we set up a tent and we did it as a tarp, and so learned how to do several different kinds of knots. And I don't know, I've learned a lot, so I'm trying to think all of what it is.
I was really taken by surprise because in the class description it said going around town and maybe taking pictures or doing a documentary. And then when I found out we were going to be walking to the Stuhr Museum or walking back from Stuhr Museum or something like that, I thought that was right up my alley, so I thought that was really cool. Just trying to live off the land and living it as authentically as possible in accordance to what the pioneers did back in the day. It just really gives you an appreciation for what you have now, and it just really puts things into perspective. Pioneers didn't have a shelter like that initially when they started off, and I knew it was going to be an experience either way, and so I thought, what the heck, I might as well just try it. And so I got in a sleeping bag and rolled up in our professor's oiled tarp, leather tarp, and just slept on the ground outside, and it was cold. I will be sleeping inside tonight. I will have no option, and I would not want to sleep outside tonight anyways. this is a really great experience, and if you have an opportunity to do anything like this at all, do it, because it really shows you what you take for granted, and just like I said earlier, it just puts things into perspective.